Hi everyone, it's Jon here from UniTasterDays. It's 12 o'clock, so let's get started right away, if that's okay with you. Firstly, a big welcome to everyone that's joining us for this UniTaster Tuesday. This is our fourth one, so if you're joining for the first time today, that's wonderful, it's great to see you. Or if you've been every single week, that's great as well. But essentially, we're doing these events to ensure students, despite all the circumstances, go on to make really good university decisions. And we're going to get new universities speaking every single week. And in addition to that, we're going to get new subjects as well. So I hope you find these events really, really useful. And I hope the events find you well today. A quick introduction to me. My name is Jon Cheek. I'm the founder and director of UniTasterDays, which is probably a website that you use to look for university events. As well as looking for university events, we're also delivering the events every single week. It's great today to be joined by some wonderful higher education practitioners, and if I just give them a quick introduction now. I'm joined by Megan from the University of East Anglia, who's going to open things up for us today, followed by Andrew at Liverpool John Moores University, and then Emma as well, last but certainly not least, from the University of Southampton. As far as topics we're going to cover today, we're going to look at top tips for picking university courses. That's going to be delivered by Megan very shortly. Then Andrew's going to talk to us about UCAS and personal statements, and then last but not least, Emma from University of Southampton is going to talk about how essentially you can prepare academically for university and how that's different to perhaps what you're doing just now. In terms of format, just so you kind of know what to expect from this session, we are going to be on live until around 1 p.m. So if you've got anything else to do afterwards, I'll make a guarantee to you all as host, and we won't finish any later than 1 p.m. if you've got stuff that you're planning later on. We're trying to keep these events as whistle stop as possible. How they're going to be structured is each of the three speakers is going to talk for 10 to 15 minutes about their particular aspect of university, and then right at the end of the session as well, they'll each deliver a 1-minute introduction to their institution as well. So given that universities at the moment, obviously you can't attend physical open days in person, it's just an opportunity just over 1 minute to find out a little bit about each institution. So that today is going to be University of East Anglia, Liverpool John Moores University, and also the University of Southampton. As far as the plan for this session is, we're going to keep this as interactive as possible. So I can already see people are using the Q&A function, and that's brilliant to see. We're hoping this event is going to be our most interactive session yet. So do watch the sessions because you'll find them really, really enjoyable. But if you've got any questions about any aspect of university, do use the Q&A as well. It's not just going to be me answering the Q&A questions. I'm absolutely delighted to say today, as well as Megan, as well as Emma, and as well as Andrew, we're joined by Lydia, Ben and Rebecca. Lydia from the University of East Anglia, Ben from Liverpool John Moores, and Becky from the University of Southampton. And they're here purely to help you by answering some of your questions in the Q&A. Because previous events that have been really popular, I can see this event numbers are brilliant again, we haven't managed to answer all your questions. So what we're going to try and do today is by doubling the number of people on hand to answer some questions, make sure that we get as many questions of yours answered as possible. We're going to finish at 1 p.m. today. I'm just now having a quick look at my list of things to let you know about before we start, and it looks like I have done it all. I've said the right things. That's fantastic. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. That's Megan Broughton from the University of East Anglia. Megan is going to talk to us with some wonderful tips about picking university courses. Megan, without further ado, the floor is yours. I'll pass things over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I hope you can all hear me okay. I'll just share my screen with you. So yeah, thank you very much, Jon. My name is Megan and I work at UEA. And yeah, I'm going to run through kind of 10 to 15 minutes about how to choose your course when you get to university. It is a really challenging thing to do. So I know when I was in year 12, I went from wanting to study archaeology to then history to then ending up doing a biology degree. So I don't envy you. It's very difficult to kind of choose the right subject when you get to university. So hopefully this will be a nice introduction for you. So there is lots of choice out there. So currently on UCAS there are 35,500 different undergraduate courses to choose from. So very different to maybe when you were at college or sixth form and maybe your teachers gave you a list of 20 subjects or so to choose from. At university, it's very different. You've got a much kind of larger scale of courses to choose from. Hopefully you have all been on the UCAS website. This is the University Colleges and Admissions Service. It is where you apply to university, which I'm sure Andrew will talk you through a little bit later. But it's also where you can make a start at looking at all the different courses. So yeah, lots of courses to kind of choose from. And then even when you have decided on a course, say for example, you wanted to study psychology, again, you've got an overwhelming number of different psychology courses to study at lots of different universities. So I'll talk you through the reason why there's so many courses, but also how to kind of narrow it down and choose the right course for you. So you've got to get that kind of 35,500 different courses down to 5 choices when you apply to university. Most people tend to pick one subject. So for example, I picked biology, and then I picked 5 different universities which all offered biology. Now the reason for this is because when you apply to university, you have the same application for your 5 choices. Okay, so that's the reason why it's important to pick one subject or kind of a couple of similar subjects, rather than choosing 5 different courses at one university, for example. The only exception to this is if any of you guys want to study either medicine, dentistry, or veterinary science, and they are very competitive courses, I'm sure you're aware. You have 4 choices, which can be medicine, dentistry, or veterinary science, and then your 5th choice has to be something different, just because it is competitive. So for example, if you applied to 4 medicine schools, your 5th choice might be something like biomedicine or pharmacy. So just an alternative course. It's kind of like a backup option for you if you wanted to study one of those options. So when I'm in school, I normally kind of play a little game with students. Obviously, I can't really do that today. I play a game called Real or No Real, where I outline all of the different random courses which you can study at university and try and get the students to guess whether they're real or no real. Obviously, I can't do that today, so I've just outlined all of the kind of real courses out there in the UK. So these are all real subjects. So if you do have a niche passion, or if you're really particularly interested in space science and robotics, there will be a subject out there for you at university. So for example, you can study space science and robotics at Aberystwyth University. So there is a degree out there for you if you have a certain passion or a certain interest. So don't rule out something which you're passionate about, because I guarantee you there will be a university that offer a course in that. You can also study something like baking science and technology at London South Bank. You could study golf management at Birmingham University. So no matter what your kind of passions are, there will be something for you. So don't rule kind of anything out just yet. So why is there so many different courses? So the reason about this is because there's so many different variations. So I talked earlier about psychology and there being 1,800 different psychology courses. I know at UEA, for example, we've got 16 different psychology courses, because there's lots of kind of variations of these courses. So you can study a single subject. So for example, something like chemistry, history, or physiotherapy, which is quite straightforward. If you are really undecided and you really love kind of 2 subjects, there is also the option at many universities to do what's called a joint honours degree. This is where you spend kind of 50% doing one subject and 50% of your time doing another subject. So if you are really struggling to kind of get rid of one of your A-level or BTEC choices and you want to continue studying them both, there is often a possibility to do that at university. So for example, you could study English literature and philosophy. This isn't true for every subject. So for example, if you loved biology and drama, I don't think many universities would offer that. But within certain kind of faculties, kind of within similar subjects, there is also the opportunity to do that. As well as this, you might also want to do a kind of major minor system. So some universities offer this. My housemate at uni did this. He did computer science with management. So 70% of his degree was computer science, and the kind of 30% was management. So if you just wanted to pick up another subject, or language or business or something like that, but didn't want to spend 50% of your time doing that, there's also the opportunity to do that at uni. As well as that, there's other courses such as liberal arts where you can kind of pick from a variety of different courses. So again, there is opportunity for you to continue a multiple of different subjects. At university, you also have the chance to do what's called a year abroad or year in industry. I'm just going to quickly kind of outline what these are, because students always get really confused about them, and there's lots of terminology kind of floated around. So a year abroad essentially is an extra year at university, but it's kind of like an exchange program. So you tend to do your year abroad at a different university, but still continuing your subject. So for example, at UEA, we've got law with American law. So what happens is you spend 2 years at UEA studying law with American law. In your third year, you go off to an American law school, which we're partnered with. You continue studying there, and then in your fourth year, you come back to UEA to finish your studies. So if you wanted to continue studying, you wanted to have the opportunity to kind of study in another country or in another university, then a year abroad is a really fantastic opportunity for you. And I know lots of universities have got partners all across the world, in Australia and Asia and America, for you to continue studying, but at another university somewhere else. So great opportunity. And then lots of universities also offer a year in industry, or what's also called a placement year. Now it follows the same structure, so you tend to do 2 years at university studying. Third year is not at the university, and then your final year back at the university. But this is slightly different in that often you don't continue your studies. So your placement year or your year in industry is a kind of work experience year. My brother did this, and he got paid for the year that he was doing it, and he literally finished university and walked straight into a job afterwards. So again, if you want to go into a certain career like engineering or business or something quite specialized, and you want to kind of make yourself more employable compared to your peers, have a look at whether your course offers a year in industry or a placement year. Some courses offer the opportunity to study part-time. We don't at UEA, and I know many universities don't at undergraduate level, but if you wanted to study a master's, which is a degree after you finish your kind of undergraduate degree, then that might be an option. And lastly, there is also the opportunity to do a foundation year at many universities. And this is an extra year at university, sometimes called year zero. And these are for students that may not have met the right entry requirements for the 3-year course, or for students that haven't taken the right A-level or BTEC qualifications. So for example, if you really want to do computer science, but the university you've looked at wants maths A-level and you haven't got that, have a look and see if they've got a foundation year, because it's a way of getting into that university and onto that course with either your grades, with either not the right grades or the right qualifications that you initially had. So how to choose your subjects. So you've got lots of choice, and these are the 3 top tips I always give students, and if you can stick to these, then you'll be on the right path. Firstly, choose something which you enjoy. Now, it sounds really obvious, but when you go to university, you're going to be living and studying and kind of breathing that subject for 3, 4, 5 years. So it's got to be something that you enjoy, and it's got to be something that you want to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning to get to your 9 o'clock lecture for, and kind of continuing studying that subject, kind of 7 days a week for kind of 3 years. So sounds really obvious, but make sure it's something that you actually enjoy. I know lots of students might be getting really good grades at a subject, but actually they don't enjoy the classes, or they don't actually enjoy studying that subject. So that is kind of key when choosing your subject. Secondly, have a look at what you are doing now, and ensuring that your A-levels or BTECs or access course will get you onto the right course for you. So for example, if you're doing 3 humanities, actually you won't be able to study medicine at university because you need A-level chemistry or biology usually. So have a look at your A-level or BTEC subjects and ensure that your subject aligns with this and your interests align with this. And lastly, think about what you're good at as well. When we look at your university application, we look at your grades first and foremost. So ensuring that it's something that you're actually good at. You might really enjoy a subject, but may not be getting the right grades. And this is what we look for firstly as a university. So that's really kind of key, and it will ensure that you continue doing well at university when you get here. So your research, well, hopefully Jon is recording these so that you can kind of watch this back or scribble these down. And there's loads of ways which you can research different courses at university. Obviously doing UniTasterDays subject webinars are really good. Have a look at Discover Uni. It's a website which outlines all the different courses at different universities, and it's got kind of statistics about courses. So for example, if you found an engineering course at Loughborough, you can click on Discover Uni and have a look at what the entry requirements are for that course, how many people, what the employment kind of statistics were for graduates on that course, and so on. So lots of ways which you can research a course in more detail. The student room is really good for kind of getting student views about a certain university or for a certain course. League tables, now have a look at league tables for your course that you're interested in, because they will vary depending on your course and depending on the university. So for example, Oxford, Cambridge, usually at the top of every league table. However, they might not be at the top of a league table for baking science and technology, for example. So have a look at the league tables for your particular course, because they will vary. Obviously, speak to careers advisors, speak to your teachers, have a look on university websites, and also have a look at the UCAS Hub. And lastly, I just wanted to mention my kind of favourite website, which is the Uni Guide. It's got loads of good statistics on it, but it's also got a really good tool called A-Level Explorer, where you put in your 3 A-levels of BTECs, and it comes out with loads of different university courses which you can study. So if you're still undecided, you can put in your 3 A-levels, comes up with close matches, and then it comes up with like unexpected results. So when I put in mine, history, biology and maths, came up with kind of traditional courses and degrees I could study, but then it came up with other courses which I could do with my combination of A-levels, but I might not have considered. So things like engineering, or things like medicine or economics, and so on. So have a look on there. There is a whole range of different subjects out there for you. This is just some of our faculties at UEA, just to kind of demonstrate to you that there is a wide range of different courses. So and there's courses which you may not have heard about before, so things like actuarial sciences, international development, things which you may not be currently studying, but with your A-levels or BTECs, that might be a course for you. And lastly, my kind of top tip is having a look at the modules at your course. I didn't do this before I went to university. I just chose biology and 5 universities. I didn't actually realise that biology at one university is quite different to biology at another university. It sounds really silly, but have a look at the modules at the different university courses and see if it's a course which is kind of suitable for you. Do you like biology, and actually the university you're looking at is very genetics and microbiology focused, and actually you want to do more ecology and conservation? So have a look at the modules. Don't base your decision for one university based on one particular module, because sometimes they change, academics and teachers change, but it will give you a good idea of what that university teaches and the types of things which you may be interested in. Modules at university, sorry I didn't explain, are kind of like your curriculum at school. So at university you can pick and choose different modules, so different topics to study across your 3 years. Again, have a look at the way the university course is taught, and ensuring that it's a course which is suitable for you and for your learning. Most science and healthcare courses have lots of practicals and placements, and if you don't like that, then that might be not the right course for you. If you're not very good at independent study, having a look at a history course which has only got 4 hours a week of teaching may not be the right course for you. So yeah, have a look at the way the course is taught as well, and ensuring it's something which you could see yourself doing. So I think that's everything. So hopefully kind of whistle-stop tour, some few kind of key considerations. Firstly, have a think about what you enjoy day to day, and is it a course that's interesting for you? Have a look at the modules as well, and compare and contrast different university courses at different universities. Have a think about your career. So if you do have a career in mind, does that degree enable you to go on to that certain career? Does it give you the right qualifications needed? Think about the opportunities on that course. If you're really interested in a year abroad or you're in industry, can you do that on that course? And lastly, there's lots of ways which you can research using league tables, using UCAS, to find out whether the course is right for you. Lots of things you can be doing now. I'm aware of the time, so I'm going to leave that kind of to Andrew and Emma to kind of tell you about all the different things which you can be doing at the moment. There's lots you can be doing to ensure that the course is right for you, and lots of things out online at the moment for you to have a look at. So yeah, that's everything. If you do have any questions, obviously you can post them in the Q&A, and also we've got an Ask UEA website, so you can post questions on there and ask students some questions about their courses. But yeah, I think that's everything, John. So it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but yeah, if you do have any questions, I'll be able to answer them after.
Thank you, Megan. That's absolutely wonderful. And thank you. I was just about to say, if you can cancel the screen, you've done it already, so that's brilliant, Megan. Thank you. Such an important subject, looking at courses to pick. And I have to say, even now, if I was going to pick a university course, I'm not sure which course I would actually pick myself. So good luck with that, but that's brilliant advice that Megan provided today. What I'm going to do now is introduce our second speaker. That's Andrew Cooper. Andrew is a schools and colleges account manager at Liverpool John Moores University. And Andrew's going to talk to us about UCAS and personal statements, which I know is always a very, very popular subject. So without further ado, if I can pass the floor to Andrew.
Right, so good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, as I said, my name is Andrew, and I'm from John Moores University. But previously to my current job, I have worked in the admissions team. So I've read a lot of different personal statements over my time, and the best and the worst one I ever read literally was, "Please take me on." And please was spelled PLZ. So really seen it all, heard it all. So if you do have any questions, do let me know. And hopefully now we can just share this with you. And so personal statements and the whole UCAS process. Now, the whole kind of thing to be thinking about is obviously, what is UCAS? Everything goes through that one website. You apply on there, you can see your track, so you can see the application, all the decisions that we make. And there's some really good guides on there as well for parents, for obviously advisors, as well as yourself. And at the end of the day, they're the people where you put the application to. They're really good, unbiased advice. Now, there are a few different deadlines that you need to be aware of. So if you are applying for those medicine courses, Oxford, Cambridge, you've got until the 15th of October. Now, normally, UCAS will open for you to start editing your applications over the summer. So you can be editing them away, putting all your personal details in, putting in your personal statement drafts into that. And it's normally about mid-September that you can actually click go live and send your application off to different universities. So if you think about, if you actually only started in September when you went back to school, you'd only actually have about a month if you're applying for those courses. So the earlier you can start actually editing your application form, the stronger chance you're in. The 15th of January is the key deadline that UCAS always gives. And basically, any applications that are received by that date, any university has to read and consider you for the course. If it comes after that, the courses can be starting to close and become full. So everybody tries to get their application in by that date. But as you can imagine, we will receive thousands of applications just before that. So the earlier you can get your application in, the stronger chance again that you're going to be in. And it's really important that you check with your school or college what their actual deadline is. Because I know some schools that are still saying they want a draft before the end of July, so they can be editing that for you. Some will say you have to complete your application by October half term. So at least it just gives you a bit of an idea of what to be expecting. There is a bit of difference for some of the art and design courses. And obviously after that, you've also got the UCAS Extra, so you can apply for some additional slots. And equally, there was the clearing period. People think, oh, clearing, that's when you don't get your results. And I'm just desperate for courses. But you'll get people who just will apply brand new, who've never applied before. So don't be put off. So some of those key features, and I can kind of mention some of this earlier, you get those 5 choices, and that can be for the same course. So say psychology at 5 different universities. It could be that you want to do psychology and sociology, so you can mix it up and say, I'm applying for psychology there, psychology and sociology at that degree. Obviously, you do get those other restrictions that Megan mentioned earlier, but the whole point is a simultaneous application. Now, I remember, well, I don't remember, but my dad told me about when he applied to university that he had to write separate application forms to each individual institution. And that was obviously quite time consuming. So the whole point is that you get one application that goes off to everybody. So it's important to remember that you are talking to all 5 different institutions potentially. And I remember receiving one that talked about a city down in the south of England in great detail about the architecture, what the nightlife is like. And obviously I'm sat in Liverpool going, but why would I want to know about that? That student clearly doesn't want to come to me. And if I offer them a place, I might not be able to offer somebody else on that course. So it starts thinking about, will we make that person an offer? So the whole point of the personal statement is really important. It's because for most of you, That's what we're going to use really to help make us an offer. It's the only chance we're going to get for us to learn anything about you, because most courses these days don't interview. Obviously, if you do interview for a course, we will have that personal statement in front of us as well. So we'll be able to ask you questions based on that. But realistically, when we're looking at the offers, are you going to get a good predicted grades? What does your tutor reference say? And does that back up what's in your personal statement? And obviously, personal statement, that is what we use. So all those things are good. We'll make you an offer. If we select you for interview, we'll use that. But obviously in borderline case as well, so if you've only got 1 or 2 spaces left, or equally sometimes maybe you just miss out on your grades and it's just a little bit short, we can actually then go back to your personal statement and go, do you know what? That person's done loads of stuff. They're really worth investing in. So the basic practicalities of it, you get up to 4,000 characters, which is about 47 lines of text. So pretty much a page of A4 paper, about 600 words. Now, there's no spelling or grammar checks on the UCAS system, so make sure that you are using it. And if you're using something like Microsoft Word, just remember the little basic things. So I once got into trouble for changing it to English American. Everything looks correct, and I'm dyslexic, so spelling is an issue for me. Everything looked correct, and it was actually just that little bit wrong, and I remember sending a letter off like that. So make sure it's in English UK. And obviously ensure a good structure, a really good beginning, middle and end. Effectively, this is your first university essay that you're writing, and we're starting to kind of gauge, oh, if they write the personal statement just in bullet points, obviously your formatting's removed, so we wouldn't see the bullet points. But if you write in that style, are you going to write your essays like that? So make sure it's a good structure, and obviously it's so many really good reference copies on loads of different websites now. But make sure it's your original work. UCAS has really good plagiarism software, and we always get a percentage of how much they think it's been copied, because there's only so many ways you can say, I've always wanted to be a midwife, I've always wanted to be a police officer. But think about if you find that we've copied off people, and we do find sometimes the same personal statement from the same different people in the same college. If you're going to copy that, it's personal about you, you're probably going to need to copy your university essay. So it starts making us think, oh, should we take that person on? Now, it's actually really hard to write things that are positive about yourself. When we do the practical workshops and I go round, this is a task that I get people to do. And if I actually say to them, tell me 3 things that you're really proud of, people just sit there and go, what do you do? Nothing. Because they feel really embarrassed talking to a stranger to say, actually, I'm quite good at this. But if you're in an interview-based situation, you would prep those answers and you would go, actually, I know I'm going to need to talk about time management. So this is the answer that I'll give to that. Or I need to talk about these transferable skills. This is the answer I'll give. So almost prep those answers, write down the questions and answers that you would expect to ask in an interview, and then pick out the skills that you think are relevant to the degree that you're going to be answering in there. And obviously, what is the thing that you're most proud of? It doesn't have to be, well, I saved all these people's lives, or I went off and did this fantastic. Just say it could be, do you know what? I went through some really difficult times recently, and I actually completed all my GCSEs and on track to complete my A-levels. I'm really proud of that. So different things that we are looking for when we're reading them. Obviously that intellectual ability, and obviously the way that it's structured. So you've got your good writing skills and stuff like that. But equally, are you likely to accept the offer? So if we offer you a place, the person from the south of England that I mentioned just before, probably unlikely, so we're less likely to make them an offer. The other people that we'd then be talking about, what's your understanding of the course? Why have you applied for that subject? My degree was in drama and English literature, so I talked about the books that I really enjoyed reading, but equally that I'd gone out above and beyond in my course to start doing technical theatre, directed some school productions. If you don't know what course you want to do yet, but you know university is right for you, talk about why university is going to be good for you and what you hope to gain from it. Obviously, all those different types of soft skills as well. So time management, independent study skills, and all stuff that you can do just from your current studies. Any extra work experience that you've done is fantastic. And obviously, we're going through quite an extraordinary period of time at the moment. So when you talk about, well, how do you cope under pressure? You're dealing with a lot of stuff. Don't be afraid to say, actually, do you know what? I still managed to get good grades despite everything that happened over the last couple of months. So when you're thinking of a structure, this is no way the only way that you have to do it, but think about, as a bit of an introduction, what you want to be doing, the reasons why. Put the main body of text of the school experience, work experience, any hobbies that you've had, but make sure that it's relevant. Don't just give us a list of stuff. Any of those skills gained, and obviously conclude with a really good punchline. And if you struggle writing an essay and starting an essay, skip the introduction. So if this was the model you were using, start with school experience, work your way down, write a good conclusion, and then read it back and go, that's what I'm saying about myself. So your introduction matches what I'm about to read about you. And always think of it as an ABC. What's the activity you've talked about? What skills have you gained from that? And how is it relevant to the course that you want to study? Or how can you make it relevant to studying at university generally? So it is quite a tough exercise. So that's why it's good to have a plan, like we've just shown you, and keep drafting. Let your friends and family see it and also accept criticism, because there's amount of times they'll say, do you know what, you've done that and you're really good at it. So talk about it. My dad hires and fires people as part of his job and got a red pen out. And that's what really annoyed me. It was a red pen, and scribbled all over my personal statement after everybody else who read it said it was perfect. And that night I could have killed him. But the next day when I'd calmed down, and even I was going, even that doesn't make sense to me, and that is pure waffle. So I had to accept that he was doing it for the best reasons. And always leave it a day or so between drafts, because we have something called I skip. So I'll write something, think it's perfect because I've just put that time and effort into it. The next day, come back and I'll spot my own spelling mistakes. And obviously the whole point of doing that is just keep editing, because it's better that a friend or a family member or you spot a little mistake than obviously the admissions tutors. And the thing is, remember, make sure that it's just reflecting you. Sense of humour, something that you could think is funny could be offensive to somebody else. Lists, you think about who's reading it and you're just going, this goes on. Quotes, drama students are really bad for it. Shakespeare says all the world's a stage and my stages. At the end of the day, I want to know about you, not somebody who's been dead for a good couple of 100 years. Negative comments as well. So avoid things like, I'm not that good at this and I hope to improve at university. Turn it into a positive. One of the things I'm really hoping to build on at university is, and obviously cliches, avoid kind of saying things like, in year 9, I have always wanted to be. And obviously, don't do things to make you stand out in this kind of fashion. Make sure that the actual body of the text is doing the work. And at the end of the day, don't go over the top. So hopefully that's been a whistle-stop tour about the UCAS process and personal statements. If you do have any questions, just type them on the message board. And if not, if you want to get in touch with us at LJMU as well, please do feel free to. But I'll hand back over to Jon now then.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Brilliant session on UCAS and personal statements. Lots of people are asking for recordings, etc. There is a webpage that you've probably found out details of this event on, which is just UniTasterDays.com/Tuesdays. That is where future events are hosted, details of future events are provided, but also we put recordings on there. If we can add any slides and presenters, let us list of slides, they'll be added there as well. So it's a really good page for you to access. What I'm going to do now is pass on to, last but certainly not least, our final speaker. That is Dr. Emma Thompson, who is joining us from the University of Southampton. And Emma is going to talk to us about essentially how you can prepare yourself academically for university. I won't say too much more of that because time is precious. I'll let Emma do that. But Emma, the floor is yours. Over to you.
So hopefully you can see that now, which is good. So like Jon said, I'm going to be talking about how you can start preparing yourself academically for university. So I hope this will be of use to those of you who are in year 12 at the moment and who are preparing for the kinds of things that we've gone through in this session already. So thinking about your course, also thinking about your personal statement, but I hope it might also be relevant if there are any year 13 students who are not only looking to demonstrate that they have a skill set that is applicable to a university application, but also that you are ready to do that, to have those skills and to do the work that we want to see you are able to do. So you can see on the screen there a few things that I would like to go through with you. a lot about preparing for university and having yourself ready, academically speaking, is that you need to understand what the difference is between the teaching and learning that you will experience at university compared to school or college. So I'm going to be tackling that, and part of that sees you understand what your role as a university student is going to be about. To help you with preparing, I'm going to be talking about the different ways that you might want to go about building a skill set that is useful, that will help you in your preparation for university. So I will say that doing the EPQ is going to be a good thing for you to do if you are able to do it. I'll also be demonstrating other things that you can do in terms of your academic reading and your and other personal study you may wish to do. So how useful that is in both supporting your application and your readiness for university, and how you can find support in doing all of those things. So I hope that this will certainly answer one of the questions that was raised in the Q&A about how much academic reading is valued as part of your application and preparation for university. There's a hint, it really is, so worth bearing in mind. So your different opportunities for learning and teaching, unlike at school where you will likely go to a lesson and you will be provided with pretty much all the information that you will need, university is slightly different in terms of learning and teaching. And I put learning first rather than teaching because I want it to be clear that the shift is really about you and taking ownership for your own learning as much as it is about being provided with taught content. So you might have some lectures, as you can see on the screen there, top left is a big lecture theatre where you might have between kind of 30 and maybe even 400 people in a room. Those types of sessions are going to be more didactic, whereas you might then have seminars where you're going to have smaller groups where you can discuss things a bit more. Or you may have tutorials. Of course, you are likely to have lab work if you're doing any kind of science-based subject. You might even have some field study, but all of you are going to be experiencing whatever degree you do, the bottom right, which is your independent study. And I want you to be really clear on what this looks like. So this is a fake timetable that I came up with. Your learning and teaching at university will of course be made up by some of your taught hours that you can see on the screen there, your lectures that you will go to, or perhaps some of your seminars. Of course, you'll want to factor in your lunch around that, and all your hobbies as well. But really, you need to be filling your time, I would suggest, with as much independent study as possible. And so we need to see that you are able to do that kind of that independent study. And of course, this will be demonstrated through some of your assessment. So the types of independent study you are going to be doing might range from anything from, the classic kind of essays that you'll be more than probably horribly familiar with, through to perhaps, patient notes if you are going to be working in medicine or health sciences, translations, transcripts, a whole host of different things that you are going to be doing. So as I said, you need to be able to demonstrate the skill set that enables you to do that independent study, be that independent learner that we very much want to see. So we want to see this in person because we know that it means that you would be able to cope with the rigours of the course that you are studying. But we also want to see that you are working towards it, as we've seen in the rest of this session. So how you are able to demonstrate the skill set that we want to see once you arrive at university. So some of the things that you are seeing on the screen there are absolutely the kinds of skills that I think you need to be working towards. They're also, they chime really nicely with what Andrew said about demonstrating when you're talking about an activity on your personal statement, when you are talking about the benefit that you're taking away from doing those activities that you want to reference, well, what are you taking away? Some of the benefits that you might be taking away from perhaps your work experience or an EPQ if you do one might be things like time management skills. And of course that is beneficial for your course. So the extended project is a qualification that you could do that would help you in preparing for your study at university. Some of you may have done one already, or maybe in process of doing one, or you may have the opportunity to do one. I would strongly encourage that. The skill set that you take away is exactly the kind of thing that you saw in the previous slide. So this can be anything that you want it to be, really. It forces you to do a piece of research. It forces you to engage with academic material in a way that is really pleasing for universities to see. You can do this on anything that you want within reason. It is worth half an A-level in terms of UCAS points, so perhaps worth bearing that in mind compared to other AS levels. So I would strongly encourage it, and it's not just myself or Southampton. You will see more and more universities encouraging students to do the EPQ, and you can see some of their policies there on why they do that. But as you can perhaps start reading through them, I want to explain a little bit more about why universities do make these offers that include the EPQ. And that is because it is about how you develop across doing them, that takes you from being an A-level or BTEC student, or IB if you're doing IB. It takes you from that level of education to providing you with the preparedness for university. You are going to be working at a much higher level through doing the EPQ than you would do arguably through in any of your other subjects, because it's testing different knowledge, testing different skill set. So universities will encourage it. Southampton, we will make a lowered alternative offer, which you will see replicated in other places as well. What can you be doing in terms of other than just an EPQ, which will of course see you do academic reading? You might not have the opportunity to do an EPQ, which is absolutely fine. Your own set, which might be demonstrative of the same kind of skill set, but doing academic reading very much prepares you for what you are going to be doing day to day, preparing for lectures and seminars, but it will also be replicative of what you would do in an EPQ as well. So all of you can engage with academic reading, whether that is textbooks, which you're already familiar with, or perhaps some academic books, whether those are edited books where you've got a collection of chapters by different authors, or perhaps journals. I'd strongly encourage all of you to perhaps try and access academic journals within your field of interest. So for example, if you're interested in studying a physics course, have a search for journals, physics journals, and see what comes up, and see if you can do some reading around some kind of interesting or new developments and things like that. We want to see students do that kind of thing. You can also have a look at reports, whether those are non-governmental reports or industry reports. All of these pieces are likely to be much better quality than just kind of random reading or blogs that you might find online. So exactly the kinds of things that we want to see. So rather than going with Google for your searching, I would always recommend Google Scholar. If you have never come across Google Scholar before, very simply Google the words Google Scholar and the different search engine will come up. What you will find in your results here is all the kinds of things that I've suggested is good academic reading for you to be doing. So perhaps you could then just search for whatever it might be that you're interested in, perhaps black holes or something, staying with the physics theme. Another alternative to Google Scholar, because although you will find that more is freely available on Google Scholar because of the current situation, some stuff is behind a paywall. So I'm going to introduce you to a website called core.ac.uk. If you have a look at that, that is exactly what you can see on the screen there. It is the world's largest collection of open access research papers. So a good source of academic reading, but also freely available. Other things that are also free and definitely useful for you to do, and I know this has come up in some of the questions as well, about online courses or MOOCs. If you've never come across the term MOOC before, it stands for Massive Open Online Course, and most are freely available. FutureLearn is the UK's main provider. It's the Open Universities platform for online courses. And if you go to FutureLearn, just Google it, and then you can explore the courses. I've selected the short courses because I thought that would be most useful for you. There's over 580 available at the moment. I've signed up to a couple during COVID, just to kind of keep my interest. So you'll find loads of stuff there that is useful for your personal statement, but also for university level study. Again, working at that higher level, because this is content provided by universities. There is another provider called Coursera. Again, this is the home page, and on the Explore tab, you will find different subject areas. So if you know that you are a budding computer scientist, you can click on computer science and see the kinds of courses that they have on offer. This is perfect for this time to allow you to explore your subject in a bit more depth. So I'd recommend those wholeheartedly. One that I also think might be useful to you, beyond just having a look at MOOCs, is one that could help you synthesize everything that you have done. So in terms of, if you are doing a research project, you are doing that academic reading in order to do a research project, and perhaps you want a little bit of help, particularly if you're not able to do an EPQ. Myself and another colleague wrote this a few years ago, and this is the first of its kind to help you in undertaking a research project. So that will definitely help you as well. There's something else that my colleagues and I have put together that might give you a flavour of what university style learning and teaching is like. Again, so that you can really see it for yourselves, so that you can prepare fully for your personal statement get to university. This is probably really useful for those of you in year 13. You might have been asking some questions in the Q&A, and you might have seen my colleague Rebecca or Becky respond to some of those. Her lectures you will find on there, along with my colleague Rich. It's a Google Classroom where you can have a look through some of the resources and really get a sense of how to prepare for university. So you'll see what a lecture is like, you'll see preparatory suggested reading you would have to do in order to prepare for your lecture, and then you would also see what perhaps some suggested seminar questions might look like. So that as well as preparing yourself for applying, you have a very keen sense of what university is actually going to be like, because I think that's something that is quite important. So that one there is Becky's Dr. Google lecture, which is of course has a COVID-19 theme on it, and looks at how people are using the internet to find out kind of medical information. So my kind of concluding thoughts before we move on to the Q&A is, that you should be aware that university will have a range of different taught sessions, not just lessons. And really those taught sessions are your starting point of your own learning. It is for you to shape that further in terms of pursuing your learning, doing academic reading. There's a reason why we want to see academic reading on your personal statement, and that is because, practically speaking, that is what you are going to be doing all of the time at university, whatever subjects you are going to go into. Doing an EPQ can certainly focus that academic reading, but it's not the be all and end all. If you can't do one, you can absolutely do other things, like some of the things that I've suggested. Do be prepared that this might be quite difficult. You should find it difficult, but it's okay. You will be able to do this. You're just simply working at a high level, and it is very much demonstrative of the level that we will expect to see at university. It will become easier and easier as we go through. So that's where I'm going to finish. Your questions, of course, we will look to answer as quickly as we possibly can. So I'm going to hand back over to Jon and just stop sharing my screen there. Okay.
Thank you very much, Emma. Brilliant. I didn't realise much about Google Scholar myself, and that jumped out as being fantastically useful, as was everything else. So thank you very much. What we're going to do now is actually, before I move on to the final bit, which is the institution introductions, where each panelist is just going to spend 1 minute just introducing their institution to you. It's just give a quick shout out to the Q&A. As a panel, we've done wonderful job with the Q&A. So that's Lydia, Ben, Emma, obviously now I'm talking Andrew, Megan, who else have we got? Becky as well. So thank you very much. We've answered, not far off 100 questions. So do have a look at the Q&A tab. I'm sure it'll be very, very useful for you. But what we'll do now is just spend the last 5 to 10 minutes of the session just having a 1 minute introduction to each institution. And if it's okay, can I come straight back to you now, Emma, and just have a 1 minute introduction to the University of Southampton, please?
Yeah, sure. I'm actually going to share my screen again, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I've got a little slide that might kind of be helpful in that respect. So I'm hoping you can see that is the institution. We are based on the south coast, hence the name, Southampton. So you'll kind of see us in the middle at the bottom, as you can see there on that map. We have over 300 courses for students to choose from. We're a large institution, multi-campus, with over, I think it's 25,000 students, both in terms of undergraduate and postgraduate students. So we are a big university environment in a big university city. So we like to think there's something for everyone in terms of, you know, what's on offer beyond the course in terms of societies and extracurricular opportunities. Probably the best way to find out a bit more about what we offer at Southampton would be to attend our virtual open day, which we are hosting on Wednesday, the 24th of June. So you'll be more than welcome to join that. The sign up is on there. If you just search for University of Southampton Virtual Open Day, I'm sure you will find the link if you aren't able to write it down in time. So yeah, I think that covers it from me. Thank you very much, Jon.
Thank you, Emma. Great stuff. And if I can come now to Andrew to give us a quick introduction to Liverpool John Moores University, please.
Thanks, Jon. So I'm not blatantly copying what Megan did, but I thought there's a good idea. Let's just quickly do a quick PowerPoint presentation. So obviously at LJMU, we are the largest university in Liverpool. We are right in the city centre as well. So you've got all that kind of student lifestyle on your doorstep. And as a city, we cater for about 60,000 students a year. So it's a very much a student-focused city. We have about 21,000 students, 5 faculties, well over 300 different courses. Currently, 2 campuses in the city centre, 1 just out, but by the time most students will be starting with us, we'll all be a fully city centre-based university again because we've got a brand new development going on. We're also one of the oldest educational institutions in the city, covering such a broad breadth of courses, right the way from accounting, right the way through to zoology, with nursing, midwifery, engineering, being some of our good specialists. Obviously, we strive to make sure that when people graduate, they're going on to an actual full-time job afterwards. And we do guarantee accommodation to all of our students. So no matter where you come from, even if you're local, you can still get accommodation. But do visit our online open week that we're going to be doing. Look out for some online chats that we're doing. All of them are listed on UniTasterDays. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And last but not least, if I pass to Megan. Megan, it seems like a long time since you opened things up, but thank you for all your work on the Q&A. I've been aware you're still here by answering so many questions. So Megan, over to you if I can, please.
Thank you. Yeah, we don't have a nice slide to show you, unfortunately. I wasn't quick enough, but yeah, UEA is a campus-based university, so everything is all on one site, which is really great. You can wake up and then walk 5 minutes and be at your lecture or in the library or at the student bar. So everything's all in one place. UEA is based just on the outskirts of Norwich. So if you're familiar with Norwich, on the east side of England, Our university is based kind of 20 minutes from the city centre. So as I said earlier, we've got a wide range of different courses that we offer. We're a top 25 university in the UK and a world top 200. We've got lots of courses which we specialise in, such as environmental sciences, healthcare, creative writing. But yeah, we offer kind of wide range of different courses. We've got 15,000 students, so kind of a medium-sized community-style campus, really safe and really friendly. So yeah, I think that's everything.
Thank you very much, Megan. Great stuff. So left to me now to wrap things up. Can I just say a big thank you to all the panelists today, whether they were speaking or really busy answering questions. So that's Andrew Cooper at Liverpool John Moores University, Ben Kibble-Smith, also at Liverpool John Moores University, answering loads of questions, Dr. Emma Thompson at the University of Southampton, as well as Dr. Becky Nash at University of Southampton as well, answering loads of questions. Lydia Newton at University of East Anglia, and finally, last but not least, Megan Broughton at University of East Anglia. Thank you very much. Loads we've covered in the hour, and we've stuck to time, which is brilliant as well. So if I just wrap things up now by giving you a quick shout out to the events next week. That is next Tuesday at 12 o'clock again. We're going to be joined by St Mary's University, Twickenham, the University of Essex, and a colleague from Hello Future, which is part of the UniConnect network, looking at decisions, looking at university decisions, looking at the differences between school and university and what you can expect there, and also looking at student life. So another really useful session for you. As well as that, in addition to the general events at 12 o'clock, we are also launching our subject series events. So today at 3 o'clock, you might be fed up of me by the end of the day if you've come into that as well, because at 3 o'clock we're doing a medicine session, which I'll be hosting as well. Next week we're doing an engineering session. The week after that, I believe we're doing a law session. So absolutely loads going on that hopefully you might be interested in booking, and all the information on there is available from UniTasterDays.com/Tuesdays, as well as videos from previous events, as well as slides that a lot of people have been asking for on the Q&A as well. Just looking at the Q&A, we have managed to answer all the questions bar 7 of them, which is pretty incredible given that we've had loads and loads and loads, more than we ever have attending the events, and also more than we ever have asking questions. So thank you very much for sending them. If we've not answered your question, one thing I will guarantee to you is if you email me after the event, which is just Jon, Jon, at UniTasterDays.com, I'll make sure you get an answer to your question, and I'll get an answer for you. So I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully I'll see a lot of you next week. But until then, do stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you.